accounting class. In this video, I am going to go over how to put together, how to figure out practice problems in your homework using the direct cash flow method. Okay, before I begin, the only difference between the two methods is the operating section and the details of the operating section. Next week, I will have you do a practice problem where you'll have to do the indirect and the direct for an operating section, and you will learn that in total, they will equal the exact same amount. Okay, so the software that we're using is, like I've told you, driving me crazy because it's exactly the same as the book. So fortunately for me, I had an honors student in the class, Kelly, and she made up these practice problems for me. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to do the direct cash flow method, how to figure out the total amounts, and then you'll do similar type problems in the textbook. Now, I asked Kelly to make these up a little differently so you just didn't do these mindlessly, that you're totally understanding. Okay, direct cash flow method. If it directly touches cash, it will be on your cash flow. If it doesn't, it will not. So the operating section, the first thing you're going to have to do is figure out what the total cash value is for a particular account. I know, now when we cough, we're going to freak out. But anyways, I'm not sick. It's just something in my throat. All right. All right, so the first one I'm going to go over is similar to 21-2. So here's what Kelly made up. Convert Clay's company's sales revenue from its income statement into collections from customers for its statement of cash flows. Okay, so what you're trying to figure out is the amount of cash collected from customers. So before we begin, think about it. What affects cash for customers? Sales, right? Accounts receivable, and deferred revenue. So deferred revenue is the same as unearned revenue, okay? All right, so here's Kelly's problem. She says sales revenue was $80,000. Then it says accounts receivable decreased. All right, let me stop. Collections. So the amount that goes up, the amount that will increase cash, collections will be exactly the same as the indirect method. Okay? Payments will be exactly the opposite of the indirect method. So I'll repeat that throughout this video. All right, so collections, that's when cash is going to go up, is going to be exactly the same as the indirect method. So here's what Kelly said. Accounts receivable decreased. Well, accounts receivable decreased, I'm going to add 6,000. So that's a positive number. And then it says decrease, so deferred revenue decreased. Okay, 12,000. Okay, it's going to be exactly the same as the indirect. So unearned revenue or deferred revenue will be a current liability. So we will subtract that. Those elements will make sense. All right, so now you figure it out. 80,000 plus 6,000 minus 12,000 will give you 74,000. Okay, so your answer for collections from customers is 74,000. Okay? All right, let me this is number one. Let's do number two. All right, here's what Kelly says for number two. Okay, so convert Clay's company's cost of goods sold from its income statement into payments to suppliers from its statement of cash flows. Okay, before we begin, this is a payment. So it's going to be the exact opposite of the indirect method. All right, let's test it. So we're going to start with cost of goods sold. Payments to suppliers. Start with COGS. I'm going to make my life easy. COGS. I'm going to erase in a minute. And then it says decrease in inventory. Okay, so COGS is 23,000. Inventory decreased. It's the exact opposite of the indirect method. So current assets will make sense. We're going to show that as a negative. Put that in parentheses. Get in the habit or you'll forget that. Okay? All right, and then it says increase in accounts payable. It's the exact opposite of the indirect method. So it will not make sense. My dog just came down. Come on in, Bristol. Want to say hi to the class? Want to see my dog? Hey, come here. Forget it. She won't do it. All right, so decrease in inventory, increase in accounts payable, 4,200. All right, so this increased, it's the exact opposite. It will not make sense. Let's subtract it. 23,000 minus 2,500 minus 4,200 gives you 16,300. I'm going off of Kelly's number, so Kelly, I hope you're right. All right, so here's what's your answer to this. This is payments to suppliers. Okay? All right, now let's erase. All right, let's go to number 3. Here's number 3. Okay, convert Clay Company's salaries expense from its income statement into payments to employees for its statement of cash flow. So you're trying to figure out your payments to employees. Number 3. So you'll start with salaries expense. That will be your first item. And that is 15,000. Then you're going to have decrease in salaries payable. Okay, this is the direct cash flow method. It will not make sense, so if it decreased, I'm going to add it. So decrease, because it's a payment, decrease in salaries payable. 3,300. I'm going to add that. All right, so 15,300 plus 3,300 gives me 18,300. That is your answer for payments to employees. Okay, the last one for this week. Next week I'm going to have you do a direct and indirect method. Last one for this week is compute Clay Company's income taxes paid. So you start with income tax expense. $2,450. And then increase in income taxes payable. Okay, so this is a liability increase in income taxes payable. It will not make sense. I'm going to show it the opposite. So here's my answer to income taxes paid. $2,200. Now remember, we were doing the direct cash flow method. Okay? Bristol, you want to be in my video? Come here. Come on. No, she won't do it. All right, so everybody get that homework done, and then you're good. All right? Next week is our last week, So I will have one more video, and then we're almost there. Just so you know, for your class, I'm going to know if you watched the video or not. I am still deciding on how I'm going to test you, so bear with me. I still might make a change at the last minute. I might give you guys a take home, but you are not telling other classes and bragging about that, all right? Because other classes will be doing their finals on the software, but the software is horrible for your class. So just bear with me, just keep reading my emails, and I hope to see some of you in my advanced accounting. All right? All right, have a great week. Talk to you then. Bye.